Hello everyone, so today I'm in beautiful Belgrade in Serbia and I'm going to share a story that I find very inspiring as an investor. There's this gentleman that I follow on Twitter, Vukasin. How are you, Vukasin?
Pretty well. Thank you for having me.
And so I was driving between Budapest and Montenegro going through Serbia, and I knew that Vukasin is from Serbia. He's got a Twitter handle, he talks a lot about mining. And I thought his content was always very interesting, so I just sent him a DM. I was like, hey, where are you in Serbia? Can we meet up for a beer? And it turns out that he lived about an hour away from Belgrade, which was on my way coming from Budapest. And he said, yeah, sure, let's meet up for a beer. So we met up for a beer. So literally, we're just Twitter buddies, essentially.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, and so it turns out that Vukasin is an independent mining analyst. He works for a newsletter. He also works for a fund. He does this remotely from home. He's 25 years old.
Yep.
And the story that I want him to share with the audience today is essentially he invested about $5,000-6,000 US in a mining stock that has mining assets in Ivory Coast. The stock is listed in Toronto. For him, it was a lot of his own savings in that one stock, and then he was not happy with management, right? In most cases, as private investors, when we're not happy with management, what we do is we just sell the stock, we accept the loss, we move on. So Vukasin did not want to accept the loss, and essentially he maneuvered, he made phone calls, he contacted people, etc. And then eventually, with the support of people, he'll explain the process that he went through, he managed to get the CEO removed and replaced, right? So we're talking of a 25-year-old Serb sitting here in Serbia with a 5,000 USD investment in a stock, and he made all the right phone calls and had the initiative to make this happen. So I think that for us as private investors, there's a lot to learn from this level of initiative. So Vukasin, can you give us just a 20-second kind of background information on yourself?
I'm 25. I don't have a finance background, to be honest. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, but I'm mostly self-taught in finance and mining as well, especially in the technical side. 2 years ago, I started working for a newsletter, and it's been a really steep learning curve. Really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to keep doing this and stay in finance, to be honest. But we'll see.
Cool. So you had a certain amount of money. You put like $5,000 to $6,000 into this one stock. You're a mining analyst, so you for the newsletter, you manage approximately, you follow 200 tickers, 200 mining stocks, right?
Yeah, we have a database of about, I think it's approaching 600 companies now. Almost all of them are mining, in the mining sector. I cover about 150, 200 names. I'm not sure what the precise number is. It sounds like a lot of work, but if you get to know the mining sector, you realize that most of the stories, you go through them pretty fast.
Cool.
So it's not a huge workload, but it's a fit. It's a fit, especially for if you're again no formal background, and in some regards it's a bit, you have some advantages, but again on the other side you do need to catch up to people.
So you put $5,000 to $6,000 into this one random exploration company that's exploring gold, copper in Ivory Coast.
Yep.
So why in 30 seconds?
It was almost strictly asset related. I was aware of the management problems, and other people I cooperate with were also aware of the management problems, but we decided to participate because of the asset itself. The CEO in particular was the problem, and even the company's board's idea was that it was inevitable that it was going to get better, and sadly it wasn't getting better at all.
Okay, so you bought into a company, it was dirt cheap, you loved the asset, you knew management was bad, and then you hoped that management would get better by just sitting back, that the board would solve the management issue.
Yeah, I had two reasons. One reason was obviously the board, their job, and the second reason is that the CEO owned and still owns a good amount of the company, and basic logic says that he wasn't going to ruin his own company.
But he was.
But he was, basically. Yeah.
Okay, so then you had money. So $5,000-6,000 at the time was a substantial amount of money for you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so you saw this transpire, the situation wasn't getting better, and then you decided that you wanted the CEO gone.
More or less, yes. So the first time I initially bought the stock in January 2023, so the beginning of this year, and a month into owning it, there was a news release which showed that the project could really be something special. Keyword could. But the corporate side of the entire story was getting progressively worse, and it had been getting progressively worse 12 months before the beginning of the year.
So the asset kept getting better,
yeah,
and
exactly.
the management kept getting worse.
And not only that, the asset has a major partner on it. It attracted some big eyes, but the small company itself that
Who's the partner?
It's Newmont.
Newmont.
So that was kind of encouraging, and most of the time that's not something that's very favorable for the small partner. But in this case, it's something that prolonged the life of the company while the previous CEO was there, because all the work and all the spending that happened for the project was funded by Newmont. So raising money wasn't that urgent for the company, and the CEO couldn't raise money, which is one huge issue. If you follow junior mining, you know that raising money is one. You could call it a skill that's absolutely necessary.
Okay, so you got very disappointed. Mm-hmm. You said the CEO must go.
Yeah, that sounds dramatic, to be honest. But I said that I wanted to buy more after that news release in January. But I couldn't keep pouring water into a bottle with holes, basically, into a leaky container. And so I just felt that there was something that could be done, and I just decided to try to do it. I wasn't optimistic, to be honest. So what
did you do concretely so that we can learn? What did you do? So you're sitting there, you're in your office, you're at home, and you're like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah. Well, first I talked to my friend who showed me the company 2 years ago.
Okay. And it was like, you made me buy this thing. Now help.
No, it wasn't it wasn't that kind of a conversation. We were just figuring out, strategically, literally what to do. And so, to take a step back, it's not just me. It wasn't just me. It's a team effort. I just saw the thing through in the end, but it's really a team effort, and it has been a team effort. So we talked, and my friend built a relationship with some members of the board, as well as one of the staff members in the company. And we more or less knew what was going on the corporate level, with the CEO and everything. It was, you could say it was a random decision. We just decided, we have to try to do something. And from there on, we just started, making phone calls, sending emails. Actually,
to what sort
that's
of
the
people?
end. That's what I did.
Okay, so you prepared a brief, essentially?
Yep.
I
wrote a paper.
You wrote a paper.
Yep.
This is the situation. This is what needs to be done. Essentially, that's the whole investment thesis.
Yep.
This is how we can get the CEO removed.
Yep.
Have a seat on the board, etc.
Yep.
And then, what type of people or organizations did you contact?
Yeah. So the first call was with a pretty famous mining CEO who couldn't help us materially and participate because he literally has his plate full. A lot of people know him, but I'm not sure if he wants to be mentioned, so I won't say the name. But he helped us tremendously. And he basically told us, okay, guys, you have two options. One option is you can go the shareholder route, which is, you initiate a vote somehow, and, you hope that he gets voted out. It's not likely, and it's ugly, because news releases go out. A lot of bad stuff can happen. And the other option is you go through the board. So that's where, our relationship with some members of the board came in. Primarily my friends and subsequently mine as well. And we had the board agree that they definitely need to change something significantly on the corporate side of things. The technical team was perfect and still is. And that wasn't the problem. So they agreed that they do need to change. And from there on, I just said, guys, I'll, let you know every 3 or 4 days what's going on, but in the following, I don't know how many days or weeks, I'm going to try to find you an investor, basically. I would have done it myself, but, you needed about 1.5 million or so. So next step was basically to find an investor, and I reached out to some funds. The fund I do some work for wasn't able to participate because they were quite limited by the LPs. So that wasn't an option, but I got some calls with some other funds, and my friend connected me.
So your friend put you in touch with these other funds.
My friend from the fund that I just mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. Did you do any cold calling of any funds, or was it through?
No, it was mostly through an intermediary.
Cool. Okay.
So it wasn't that bad, but I would have done it, to be honest. Like, no issues with that at all. And the one gentleman who actually I think really read the paper I wrote is Steven Stewart of the Orr Group. And what's funny, there are a couple of interesting coincidences in this entire story, because Steven, before I reached out to him, he rebranded one of his companies into an investment vehicle, basically. And I saw his video, saw his update. I had built a relationship with him, being an investor in another company of his. And so once I saw the update, I thought, okay, the only problem with this African thing for Steven as a potential investor is that the thing is in Africa, right? But it's a Canadian company, so I figured, what the hell? Let's just send him an email and see what he thinks. I sent him a paper, titled it "A Long Shot Idea," and he had his geologist look at the asset as well. They liked it. We approached the board after that. I told them that they have to let go of the CEO. He needs to resign from the board as well, and he can keep his stock and everything, but he needs to be gone. And so the new CEO is the previous COO of the company, who pretty much kept the team together on the ground through the some year and a half of tough times for the company.
Cool. So essentially, the financing was done.
Yep.
And then the investor got how many board seats?
2.
2 board seats.
Yep.
CEO removed.
Yep.
And the CEO is now the interim CEO, and the company.
He's not interim. He's the CEO.
Actual CEO.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So did you get any compensation for this?
Yes. This is the funny part of it all. When I decided to try to do it, I knew how it would look to anybody who has me approaching and saying, oh, I got this thing in the Ivory Coast, which is like the best, allegedly the best thing since sliced bread in mining, right? And I knew how it could and would look. A 25-year-old idiot comes to you and tells you some nano cap that it's a fantastic investment. So I went out of my way to say in every email and call I did that I'm not doing it for a fee, and I don't even have an arrangement with the company that I was going to take a fee. But we did get offered, before the deal was closed, we did get offered the fee by the company itself. So we said, why not? But again, to emphasize that we weren't, and I wasn't doing any of it for a fee, because I just wanted to buy more stock, to be honest. We said no cash, and we just took shares. So that's the only compensation.
So mission accomplished.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So now this is the single biggest stock in your portfolio.
Yes.
Okay.
It
cool.
is.
All right. When we sat down and we had beers and he explained all of this, I thought this was very interesting from an initiative point of view, and from a many ways shareholder rights point of view. He felt that as a shareholder, the CEO was not doing his best, and he took
even the
action.
Employees were feeling that, not just shareholders, which was really funny, and especially being from the Balkans, you look at stuff like that your whole life, and then you quote unquote go out to the West and you see the same thing happening. Like, it wasn't going to fly with me, to be honest.
Cool, fantastic. What is the name of that stock?
It's Awale Resources.
Okay.
Although I think that there will be a name change relatively soon.
Okay.
To wash away the bitter taste from what happened during the last two years or so.
So if you want to follow Vukasin on Twitter, I really recommend it. He's very good in terms of mining. He covers a lot of mining stocks all over the world. So there is his handle right here below in the description. All right, Vukasin, thank you very much for sharing your story today. It's very inspiring.
Thank you, Ladislas. Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate. which you can find on my website link below, and feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.